So, but Hawaii has been always an amazing growth story, and which is kind of usually the growth is associated with the efficiencies, not so much a culture of great customer service. How do you balance the two? Amazing growth, and we've seen some of the growth here in South Florida and other parts of the country, of course, but how do you manage that growth and continuous emphasis on the culture and quality?
It's really difficult. I'm not going to lie. There's no formula. I've rearranged my team in the last couple of years to give me personally more time and accountability to focus on just nurturing culture as we undergo what will be the biggest growth trajectory we've had. When we came to Florida in 2012, we opened our first store. You have to understand, Wawa contextually at that point in time was a company of about 600-700 stores in just a handful of states, all within a 3.5-hour drive of our corporate headquarters. And so we are very high touch culture. It is not unusual for me to be in meetings from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. without a break. Very high in-person culture and very high commitment to our stores and the associates or general managers who run a store. And so if someone called from Virginia or Philadelphia, it wasn't unusual for somebody in the corporate office to get in a car and go right to the store to help them. So when we went to Florida, it was this, there was a bit of a cultural concern of, well, geez, that you can't just jump on a plane and be in a store in Miami in just a couple hours. It's going to take long. How does this all work? And boy, is growth more important than culture. And I would say growth in a much more rapid manner for us could be an enemy of culture, but there's at least our culture. There's a couple things you have to understand. One, we don't acquire stores, so the convenience store industry is really highly fragmented. A lot of players go into it and they're rolling up convenience stores because it's so fragmented. We build every single one. We operate every single one of our stores, so 1,100 stores. So we like control is what I would say over the whole experience and what's happening inside the store and the point of contact with a customer. So by definition, we're growing a little bit more slowly. For us, that means 50 new stores a year. This year, we'll do 70 new stores a year. Next year, we'll get close to 100 new stores a year. So a few years ago, as our business has grown, we want to take a step up in trajectory of new store growth. We're going to go from 6 states, Florida being our most recent, to we've already entered 2 this year, and we'll enter 4 next year that are new. So if you think about it, it took us 60 years in the convenience business to get to the first 6 states. The next 6 states are going to take 2 years. Midwest and more. So culture for us, it starts with people. And so when we think about growth, and we really did this down here in a different, unique way, we ask people to relocate to open up our stores. And not just anybody, but our best people leaders as we assess them. So not necessarily the best operators, the best money makers in our stores, but the people leaders that we know will set up the culture, will really bring life and breath to the farm system they're going to create as we start to enter a new market, whether it's Florida, North Carolina, or others. So that paid a lot of dividends for us. And Florida, thank you. It's not hard to get people to want to move from the Northeast to relocate to Florida. So that's a big element. And we still have high touch. I'm in the state a lot. We have leaders that are in the state a lot. So the most senior team, or pretty flat organization, 1 or 2, 3 of our vice presidents are assigned that they sort of own Florida with the operations team. So they're expected to be here very frequently. And that's all about, again, making sure that that culture of people first, high touch, listening, big element of our culture, and making sure that we're doing the right things in the corporate office, founded on what's going on in our stores, no matter the market. That's all really a big part of our culture. We do a lot of other things. Years ago, the caring part of our business is really important. So Paul, we had a firm come in and they did a cultural study. And I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to studies and research, and many companies use engagement surveys to say what their culture is. Engagement surveys measure satisfaction, which is a cousin to culture, but not culture. There's another firm that we were really impressed with, and they came in. They actually have 8 elements of culture based on observed and learned behaviors. They surveyed and observed our company for quite a long time, and the culture, the 2 elements of our culture, which are somewhat contradictory on their spectrum, are highly caring and highly results oriented. And so, on both fronts, we hold ourselves really accountable. We're high performing, continuous learning, continuous improvement. On the other side, we really strive to take care of people.